How We Heard It, the podcast about music, pop culture, movies, and more, with your hosts, Wayne Bledsoe and Chuck Campbell.
Salam alaikum. This is Chuck Campbell with
Wayne Bledsoe and...
This is John Baker.
That was a tribute to It's Peace Be Upon You, and that was to our friends in Qatar. They popped up, and it was like, okay. And, it's I guess a standard greeting in several countries, but hello, Qatar. It's good to know you're tuning in. And
there you go.
So the last episode, which we're thinking back on now, it's been a little bit of time here. We're going to follow up to our last topic. Our last episode, we talked about why old people don't listen to new music. And there are a variety of reasons, mental reasons, physical reasons, just... the older you get, the more you want to be comforted in what you know, and you get kind of beyond the age of experimentation and everything. It's a very pervasive phenomenon, I think. Most people our age, most people younger than us, 10 years or whatever, just really aren't listening to new music, or they're not,
old music.
Very, very new music. Old people not listening to new music. Sorry. So what we're looking at now is why don't young people seek out old music? And it's not quite as overwhelmingly pervasive as old people not listening to new music, but it's still pretty predominant that they identify themselves toward more contemporary music. And they have some of the same reasons, and then they have some different reasons, and then they have reasons also why they're more open. So basically, why would young people today not want to hear older music, period?
Well, I understand that just from the every generation wants their own thing.
Yeah.
Right. That's the biggest
It's
thing.
identity.
Yeah.
Sure.
And nobody wants to, other than weirdos like me who was identifying with music, that was generations before I was born.
I know, yes.
But, most people want that sense of identity. We have our own thing, and they want older people to not get it.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Yep, they don't want other people to get it. And then, of course, there's the bonding with your peers.
Right.
New music it always seems to be like it's written for young people today. No matter where you are in time, if you're listening to popular music especially, that seems geared toward whoever is young at that time, teenagers, 20-year-olds.
Yeah, and the big thing of that is because, they've got all these emotions that they don't know how to express other ways, and that helps you express all those emotions.
Right.
So I think that's very natural. And sometimes it feels weird as an older person listening to younger music because it's like, well, I went through this a long time ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, there are reasons why younger people do listen to older music. That doesn't work the other way around.
Right.
Younger people are in the age of discovery, which I found last time is basically from the ages of like 13 to 25, maybe up to 30, when you embrace something new, when you embrace stuff that's different. And you don't want your whole life mapped out, you're not looking for comfort, you're looking for intrigue, and all that. And so they'll be more inclined to listen to whatever old music is out there.
Well, and one of the things that I was thinking about when you brought up this subject is how subconsciously you're listening to old music anyway, because like all the samples out there. Mm-hmm. Think about when rap became a thing. It was like they were going back and sampling James Brown from the 60s and, Parliament Funkadelic from the 70s. And it was like all this stuff was coming up. So even though it's a new piece of music, the basis of it, the musical basis of it, minus the lyrics, that was old music.
Right. And beyond sampling even, there's so many reference points now.
Yeah.
And it's harder and harder to come up with something that's totally new.
I know.
And,
it's all been done.
As old people, we can listen to this stuff and say, so-and-so did that in the 60s or 80s or 2000s even, at this point. That's old music. I know, but it is. And also, there was a physiological problem that old people have with new music, and it's... you can't process it as comfortably as you can when you're younger, and your brain doesn't really hear like chord changes or anything like that the same way it did. And young people still have those young brains that are fresh and can hear.
Plastic.
They can hear the changes and all of that stuff. So younger people were open to new music or old music for that reason. And also, older people are more likely to pitch music to younger people.
Yeah.
You know, it's like young people don't really, I mean, your teenagers might have because of the relationship you had
Right.
with them, but young people don't think, oh, I can't wait till my mom hears this band. You know, you just don't even think about it. Or you just want to turn it up real loud so she doesn't like it. You're not trying to
Yeah.
intrigue her in something you think she'll enjoy in general. So, but it's in reverse. A lot of older people can't resist saying, oh, that reminds me of someone I think you might
Right.
like. So they're more likely to just be exposed to older music than, you know, you kind of have to seek younger music. So
Well, I think also, though, I mean, this is part of what happened with me, but I saw it with my own kids, is you would hear something that references something older, and you want to go back and find that out. With me, it was like, okay, this song, this person singing this song, it's written by somebody from 50 years ago,
Right.
and I want to find out what the original sounded like from 50 years ago.
yeah, you did one that.
Yeah, I mean, I still do that. I still do that.
Well,
But-
and that's true. And there is a certain credibility, I think, you know, to an extent in digging into other things in music history and all that. So there's when you're young, you can feel proud of yourself for digging around and seeking out stuff that's not just like handed to you.
Yeah, and there are waves of that to go through. I remember when like the Squirrel Nut Zippers became a thing for a little while. They were
Right.
a hot band for a couple of years, but they were going back to the 20s, and then you had other bands that were going back to the 20s, and that's before that's before your grandparents' age to a large
That
extent.
would
Or
be
like,
great.
or like
great
the Stray Cats.
Yeah, the Stray Cats go back to the 50s. The 50s is kind of like, I mean, that's where kind of modern
Young
music
people became a
starts.
thing. I mean,
Yeah.
there were no teenagers before the 50s.
Right.
I mean, there were, but there was no...
Marketing toward
Yeah,
teenagers.
yeah,
They
there
didn't
was
realize
no-
that they had so much they didn't have so much disposable income.
Right.
But yeah, but when you go back, and I mean, other people have done that. You know, Madeline Peru that we both
Right.
like. I mean, she was going back to the 30s.
Right.
But that then becomes their own thing
Right.
because that's not what's going on, and their parents aren't listening to that music. They think that music's old.
Right. Right. And their friends aren't.
Well, and I've noticed a trend, too. I'm thinking just in terms of locally, but local bands. There was a band that played at Waynestock, the Analog Kids.
Yeah.
And then they're in their 20s,
Yeah.
and they're playing guitar rock.
Blues rock.
I mean, it's like I was thinking these kids have been digging through their parents' record collection and picking out things they like,
Yeah.
and they're emulating that.
Yeah,
And
and
there was-
grandparents' record collections.
Yeah. And I remember there used to be a band called Young Life. You remember
Yeah,
them?
oh, yeah.
And I thought, that sounds just like The Fix. It sounds just like,
Yeah.
80s synth pop. And these kids were, 20 years old.
Well, it was interesting, I mean, my youngest now is 29, so it's not like, my kids are young anymore.
Right.
But there was a period of time, like with my boys who were older, all their friends at some point would start listening to Jimi Hendrix or the Beatles. That
Okay.
was like just this universal thing. I mean, all these kids were really interested in music,
Right. Right.
but
Yeah, that caveat.
for a while there was like you saw like Hendrix T-shirts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And some of it they just liked the way he looked.
Some of that's affectation.
Yeah, it
there
is.
has to be something said about nonconformists who are deliberately subscribing to nonconformism, which
Right.
is a form of conformity.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you're just like, oh, I don't like anything that everyone else likes. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, that has an affectation to it, and maybe that's not the best way to go about it. But they are legitimately still open to more experiences than older people.
Look how popular Nirvana T-shirts are right now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's still
kids
going on.
all wearing Nirvana T-shirts everywhere.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
that's 30 years old.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Hard to
I've got a
believe.
whole math thing I'm going to do at
Oh,
one
okay.
point, so we can look at reference points and why people are into whatever they're into now.
Right.
But I wanted to talk first about some similar reasons that
Okay.
young people have not listening to old music that old people have not listening to young music.
Okay.
Okay. So now we're going to why they don't listen to it. And one is like younger people, they may not feel like music back then was for them.
Right.
And you always feel like you identify with something. So if you
Yeah.
hear something and you realize, okay, all those people were dead and the world was so different then, this really isn't for me. I can't identify
Right.
with it, And that's just the way some people are, I know, and I know I'm talking to two nonconformists who aren't, it's certainly not an affectation from either of you, but I was kind of a conformist in a lot of ways,
Huh.
especially starting out. But
Well, I think, but I mean, you can just historically see these moments where what you're talking about happens, like hardcore punk.
Right.
When hardcore came in, it was like, oh hell, it's not melodic in the least.
Right.
It's just, loud and in your face, and intentionally like pushing everybody away who was,
Right.
who came before.
Right.
And,
But I mean, do you want to hear Margaret Thatcher bashing music now? If you were
no, but that's the thing. It has a limited time span to some extent,
right?
But it is something that I think every generation or most generations have, that like they have to have some music that pushes everybody else outside,
right? So they can isolate with their friends or whatever, and
electronic music and dubstep and all these different things that people have gone through the years. It's like, I could see where the lines were that pushed me out.
Yes, I saw that too. I saw that pushing you out too.
Yeah, you were reviewing that music, and I was going, oh gosh,
what do you think of this, Wayne?
I can't really handle this. But yeah, I think that's part of it. But I'm sorry, I interrupted. Go ahead.
That's okay. I'm going to move on.
Okay.
And also, of course, if your peer groups aren't listening to old music, that's a disincentive for some people not to also listen to it.
Yeah.
If you're going to venture out on your own and find stuff that no one else is listening to, a lot of people need to be bonded with their friends.
Right.
So unless you're playing it both ways, but if you're just pushing away, if you have to feel like you're pushing away your friends with what you like, then that's going to line some people up to being conformists and just liking what everyone else likes.
Yeah. Well, I do think that, there people find these little niches, like, John and I particularly like bad music.
Right.
There's, stuff that's like just so technically awful sometimes that it turns out being brilliant.
Right.
But, I think young people are still having that, where it's like, here's this weird thing. Let's all listen to this weird thing.
We all talk about music a lot, and you both especially know people who practice music and everything. How do you think it would be if all of your friends, if no one you talk to really cared about this music? If you couldn't share it with your friends or your coworkers or other musicians or whatever.
Well, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's kind of hard to imagine because almost all my friends are because of music. So,
yeah, a lot of mine are too. But I do remember, growing up, and I was listening to stuff that nobody else was listening to.
Right.
And it wasn't exactly a point of pride, but it was like, well, damn it, I'm going to listen to this regardless. I don't give a shit what anybody else is listening to.
Right. And I call that a legitimate nonconformist, and I love people like that. I wasn't like that myself when I was young, but some of my friends would be. And I remember my friend Robert loved big band jazz, and everybody's like, what's he even thinking? Like, why does he like this? He's not even a musician. What's going on here? And it's like, I thought it was cool because I knew he really liked it. And it was something. But then there are the people who are just like, I don't like your music.
Yeah.
And this is a perfect example for me. I liked goth music. I really did. But if I saw a bunch of goth people and they're all wearing black and they all have black eyeliner and they're all talking about, they don't listen to Top 40, but they all listen to The Cure, they all listen to The Smiths, they all listen to the same bands, it's like, that's almost a hypocrisy because they are conformists. They're conforming with each other.
Well, it's like the goths in South Park. It was always, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, they have to all be alike anyway. They're just like choosing to disassociate from mainstream, but they're still like glomming onto each other and imitating each other, in their looks. So also, we talk about music and music production and the sound and all that stuff, and we've all heard and talked about how, sometimes you just want to hear something on vinyl and you like that kind of lived-in feeling of it and the warmth of it and all that. And people not brought up on that now, they probably adapted. They like crisp digital sounds. They don't want a scratch in a record. They don't want that lived-in approach. So it doesn't sound as welcoming to them as it does to older people.
Well, and this is a funny thing because it's like there was like my kids went through a phase where they didn't want to see black and white movies, right?
Yeah. I still don't.
Yeah, well,
you don't like them either, do you, John?
I don't go out of my way to watch them. If it's a good movie, I'll watch it.
But so many young people are so used to color that they don't like black and white.
Yeah.
And when you listen to, I mean, that's one of the like older music that I listen to. Like I posted something on Facebook the other day that I tagged you all in so you'd listen to it. Yeah,
okay,
you did.
Yeah.
But so much of that sounds so foreign now is production.
Yeah.
Because it's so primitive. It's like it's not sweetened up. It's just them. And then you get to the 80s. And, I mean, I can't even listen to a lot of stuff from the 80s because of the production, because it's just those Lynn drums, doom, doom, doom. It sounds so incredibly dated and you know, phony.
Yeah.
And I do think that a good thing, even though we got all this AI stuff, I do think a good thing is I think a lot of young people are looking for authenticity.
Yeah. Well, that's the key. You know?
Yeah, and that's coming back to something that's honest, and they go on YouTube and listen to somebody who's just in their bedroom recording with their guitar, and because it gets away from all that production and all that other stuff layered on. I think that's a really good sign.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. And we'll circle back around. I'm just going through how I've divided this out.
Okay.
So, and if y'all got something to add or want to go on, please, by all means, do. There are also more unique reasons why young people reject old music.
Okay.
One, societal norms may dampen enthusiasm. And I do believe that there's a serious discomfort in, if you look back at classic rock, totally white guys. You may have a Jimi Hendrix here or a Janis Joplin there, but it's just white guys.
And a lot of misogyny. And a lot of misogyny.
Yes, well, that's a whole other thing too. But so you're not getting any representation, and I think people today are just more. Yeah. If you're going to see a band, well, where's the woman? Is there a person of color? Or just always white guys? And we were used to it, and it's just like, well, they did their own things. They had their own, maybe they had R&B or something else, but. It hits younger people a little differently now because it's like, wow, there's like no representation.
Yeah, and the subject matter. I mean, there are songs now that I used to just love that I listen to now, and I'm kind of like, this is kind of icky.
Well, that's a whole other thing.
I know.
It's like certainly having these white guys, singing, and this is more rock, but singing about underage groupies that they were banging or something like that. That's so wrong now. That's just completely wrong and unthinkable, and it's hard to separate that from the artist.
And the whole age thing, I mean, that goes through all the genres of music other than maybe classical. Yeah. Country music, same thing. Yeah. R&B music,
Yeah. Well, and hip-hop's a whole other thing because gangster rap was a big part of hip-hop.
Right.
Celebrating violence, like extreme violence and unbelievable over-the-top misogyny.
Yeah.
Just like you can't believe what all women were called in every song, and it's like that also makes younger people today uncomfortable. They're not going to make room for that either.
And I'm glad for that. I tell you that when my daughter was listening to rap and somebody said, there was some rapper said something about my top hoe. It's like, he must really love her. That's his top hoe. Yeah, he's calling her his top hoe. He must really, really love her. And she's like, shut up, Dad.
And I think as a result that gangster rap certainly hasn't held up. I mean, there are other forms of rap, of course, and it was more like either political or almost humorous rap was kind of the first thing.
Like Schoolie
D, Public Enemy, and Tone Loc, it's like it was more. But then when gangster rap came in, and it was like, oh my God, they're shooting guns and they're talking about killing people, and dealing drugs.
It was scary.
And just the way they talked about women incessantly was just so off-putting. Even then, I can't imagine what that would sound like now.
Yeah, and I think it's so many things I complain about that haven't gotten better, but I do think that the attitude about that is an improvement.
Yeah, I do too.
I did enjoy that meme you sent with Dionne Warwick, where she she got Snoop Dogg and Suge Knight and said, "Call me bitch to my face." And I loved Snoop's response. It was like, I think we got out gangsted that day.
I interviewed her one time, and she was no nonsense.
No nonsense at all.
She was something.
She's still around, isn't she? I think she is.
I'm not sure. I think she is.
And then another thing I wanted to say is just how far back are young people supposed to go?
Right.
Okay. Now, there's like 70 years of rock history at this point. And the problem with going back is the catalog of old music just grows and grows by the day.
Yeah.
So when we were younger, now we could have gone back to the 30s or 40s, but I don't know that music was as free then as it became, where just everybody was making different kinds of music. But I don't know anyone who ever went back that far. It was more,
you know me.
You did. I didn't know you then. You did. There may have been some who go back to the 50s, or the 60s. But
It's pretty much the beginning of the rock era, and the rock era begins in 1954, basically.
Okay, right. So that's what I was thinking. It's like about 70 years of it now.
Yeah.
So when we were young, you just had to go back a couple of decades, and that's it. Now you're looking at 70 years of music, and just where is old music for these people, because it's just so intensely different. And so I did a little math, like I said.
Okay.
Consider that everyone turning 16 this year, that's, a couple of years into the age of discovery and everything, they were born in 2010. Mm-hmm. Okay. So they probably didn't start adapting to music to more like 2020, like the pandemic. So most of their references are going to be post-pandemic music. These are 16-year-olds who are out driving cars around us. And they just kind of like, their reference point is post-pandemic music. If you go to their parents, and I looked this up, the average age of a mother is 29 point something when and this is a woman who's had multiple births. The average age of a first-time mother is like 27 something. Okay. But pretty much it's just right under 30, and the average age of a father whose child is being born today is also 30. So if you go back 30 years, okay, so the parents of today's 16-year-olds, they were born around... that would have made them born. Oh, I've lost that now. I've got to subtract 46.
Wait, you said
their parents were born around 1980.
Right.
Okay. And if they were 25, then they were born in 85. If they were 25 when they were parents. If they were older, then But just say 80 as an average starting point. So if they were born in 1980, their reference points wouldn't have been until about the 90s.
Yeah.
So their parents' reference points are 90s music.
Right.
Okay, their grandparents would have been born like around 60, and the age of parents got younger and younger.
I don't like the way this is going.
Well, no, I'm saying the grandparents of today's 16-year-olds, their reference points would probably be like classic
70s.
Rock, maybe disco, not even the 60s. The Beatles were toast.
Well, I mean, that's our generation.
Well, I'm 19. Right. I was born in 1960, so I'm the grandparent in this.
Right.
But just the thought that I could be a grandparent. I can easily be a grandparent, though.
Easily.
Right.
I'm 61.
Yeah. So the parents, their reference points would have been 90s. So it would have been grunge, it would have been alt rock, new rock, and definitely hip hop. Hip hop, like huge.
That was when it really took off. It was the reigning music.
And the grandparents, and maybe the younger ones would remember like Backstreet Boys, Spice Girls. The younger parents would remember that. So that would be something, boy bands, girl bands, whatever, that they could bring into conversation with their kids, their 16-year-olds. And then the grandparents, it would be, like we said, disco, classic rock or whatever. And the early MTV days would be their grandparents. 16-year-olds' grandparents were early MTV days. So that's goth, and that's, new wave. And,
Wave, yeah.
Yeah. And if you want to go to great-grandparents who have been born, like in the 50s, maybe the 40s, those were the ones who experienced the Beatles live, and all that. And they're mostly dead now,
Yeah, make me feel real good.
They're like maybe 80s and beyond. What generation are these kids even looking at to find their old music? And is it Nirvana? And is it, Cyndi Lauper? Or, where does that land? And I think we're kind of geared to think, you start with the Beatles, you start with the Kinks, you start with Elvis, it's like, no, it's not, that's going way too far back for them to.
Yeah. They wouldn't know who Elvis was.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I was thinking about that the other day because I was reading I'm reading a book about the Beatles right now. And it's like, I mean, this is truly ancient history.
Yeah.
And, I mean, nobody younger can understand what a phenomenon that was back then. I mean,
Right.
I look at Taylor Swift now and think, here's the closest thing we have to a phenomenon now.
Right.
Where,
But she would be for the parents of today's 16-year-olds.
yeah, well, she would. I mean, even though
she's like 36 herself, so
But
she's 20 years older
Yeah.
than they are.
But
But
I-
anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But I do think young people are still, a lot of young girls especially, are still listening to Taylor Swift. I think she's a voice. I think she is.
I think she transcends certainly more than other artists her age.
Yeah. I think she is somebody who is still speaking to them.
Right. But she's also speaking to people who are pushing forward.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of the first big shows I took my daughter to was Taylor Swift. She's 29 now. She still likes Taylor Swift.
Right.
But she was like 12 or something, I think, when I took her to that show. And, it stuck.
Yeah.
But,
Well, she's perfect age because she was, 5-6 years younger than Taylor Swift or something like that. So Taylor Swift is, a little older than her, but not some other generation older than her.
Yeah.
So she's a
more
millennial.
like a big sister or something.
Yeah.
And I think that's overall, that's what you look for when you're young, when you're a teenager. You
Right.
want somebody who's like still cool
Right.
and on the cusp and doing all the stuff you want to be doing.
Well, oddly enough, so all my Google research somehow got into my Instagram feed because I started getting video after video after video of young people talking about who they like.
Oh, okay.
And like one of the ones that was most telling for me, I was just listening thinking, oh, wow. But it was some high school.
Right.
And I believe it was the South. There seemed to be some Southern accents
Yeah.
in there. But they just said, what music act do you like? And this was like a recent video.
Right.
No one said Taylor Swift.
Interesting.
Yeah, they said they threw out Chappell Roan
Right.
and they threw out Somber, and I think maybe there's Olivia Rodrigo in there. The only old music, and I thought this was funny. One was a young woman who looked like the president of the student council. I thought Molly Ringwald from Breakfast Club, and she said, and she just said unapologetically, she said the Beatles. I was like, oh, there's one for the Beatles, and then another one who looked like Ali Sheedy from the Breakfast Club. She said, I like Simon and Garfunkel. And everything about her, the way she was dressed and everything, just, she was like standing out from everyone. Those are the only things that were really old. Most of the ones who like oldies music, it was Van Halen, it was REM, and there were multiple REMs and multiple Van Halens.
Right.
And I do think there was a Nirvana may have been thrown in.
And these were
there.
all teenagers?
Yeah, these were all in a high school. That was their parents' music. So those were the oldies to them. And then as far as the genre mix, there was hip hop that was mentioned, but it was decidedly less than what I remember hip hop being just 10 years ago.
Did anybody mention any modern country?
Modern country came up. Yep, that was and it was funny because they talked about Morgan Wallen.
Right.
Of course, he came up from Knoxville.
Yeah.
And they talked about, I wrote down a couple of women's things. I think there was an Ella Langley, and I looked her up. Have you ever heard of her?
I've heard the name, but I don't think I've heard her.
She's one, you were talking about authenticity, and the one, if there's any genre that's always talking about authenticity, it's country, right? And it's like, people don't say, oh, she doesn't seem like an authentic pop star.
Right. Yeah.
No one says that, but country is like, you got to be authentic, and there's such a separation between just modern pop country and people who sound genuine.
Oh, yeah.
And this Ella Langley, I looked her up and on Reddit and everyone, I guess it's her vocal delivery. I thought I'd pass her along to you. She's a young woman and she's doing a country song, but people are like, this is real country, y'all. This is the country. And I've heard that so many times before, but I guess there's some authentic. And then there was, they mentioned Megan Morani, and I thought this is Target, because Target has, I've talked about it before, they had this just huge shrine to Taylor Swift in every Target.
Right.
And then you'll see little bits and pieces and fragments of Sabrina Carpenter or something like down on the floor or whatever. Megan Maroney has finally replaced Taylor Swift, and she's also a young country singer, and she looks kind of like Sabrina Carpenter, but and I think, oh, this is marketing coming to play. It's like Taylor Swift, her last album came out a while ago. She may be taking a break right now. She's getting married and dialing back on. She's not touring and stuff like that. So we got to have someone else that we can put up there. So she's being pushed as like the new You know, not the new Taylor Swift, but anyway, but it's getting through to some of the ones who are talking about. And like I say, they talked about Morgan Wallen. There was some Lukes and Zachs. I wasn't keeping up with what they were talking about.
Yeah.
There were a few people talking about hip hop. There was some K-pop references.
Did anybody bring up Jesse Waters?
I don't remember that one.
Well, see, that's the thing is I'm interested in that because I've seen so many older people just trash this guy. He's like a modern folk singer.
Right.
He's, spread over social media. That's how he got going. And he's talking about political things, and it's, from a young perspective. But, it's stuff that older people should be able to relate to because it goes all the way back to, being influenced by Dylan and the political songwriters of the 60s.
I think singer-songwriters, we may be due for that to be, and then we're kind of in that mode right now because it's not, you had your period where it was just rock music. You had it was all hip-hop music and all that stuff. I think singer-songwriters who were kind of 60s, 70s, right? When they were such an explosion of them.
Yeah.
I think that's really what people are settling on right now is what's moving it, which isn't really as genre specific, but it's a style of just, intimate, soloist.
And this is what I was, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I was recently at a family gathering, and my cousin's daughter, who is a freshman in college, was playing an Elliott Smith song on her guitar, and also playing some Simon and Garfunkel.
And see, I think that's what's happening. I think people are sharing this over, different social medias, and because I keep seeing it pop up in my feeds, like on Facebook Reels or whatever. I'll see all these young people playing acoustic instruments, singing folky songs.
Right.
And I agree.
There's a band of new singer-songwriters, who are writing their own stuff.
Yeah, these are people. Look, a lot of things.
I've talked about Olivia Rodrigo 100 times. She drew upon these singer-songwriters, and now she's doing her own songs. So she's not just covering them.
But that's what I mean. That's what I'm seeing is I'm seeing all these young people just playing songs, just lyrics, melody, without any pop affectations or hip hop stuff thrown in, just the song.
But I do think the hip hop, there's like a subtle influence of hip hop even in the pop and rock music of today that I think makes 70s rock sound a little lacking, maybe, to younger ears who are used to it always being in some element, either the electronics in it or the rhythms or something like that infiltrates, rock music. And it certainly didn't in the 70s because it wasn't,
Didn't exist.
It didn't exist, right. So I think...
Well, and a lot of music these days is automated anyway.
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying AI necessarily, but I mean, people are using plugins and drum plugins and stuff, so it's like technically perfect.
Right.
Which in the 70s there wasn't anything like that, and in fact that's the reason why I like 70s music because it's made by humans.
Right.
It's like
and young people don't feel that.
Yeah.
It's like it's all human to them. It's like whatever.
But I do think there's we did the AI episode. I just think there's a big backlash to that going on. I mean, they're using it, and I'm hearing all sorts of especially funny songs created using AI.
Right.
But I'm just seeing this stripped down to nothing going on.
Yeah.
And I think, I think it's a really good thing that people are just going back to, okay.
But they don't know they're going back to anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's
I feel
revolutionary.
like they're going forward into something.
Right. They're not. Like I say, there was a Beatles reference in a Simon and Garfunkel, and that was it until the 80s. I didn't hear any. And I heard other ones, and I saw like videos where teenagers react to 80s music. Teenagers react to, and that comes across a little false when it's this highly produced stuff, and they all seem to know everything. It's like I know those aren't normal teenagers, but when it's just in the school, like who do you like, and they're like somber, or whatever, feels a little more authentic.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's everything goes through phases for sure,
and fashions come back around. They always do.
Yeah,
but I
like
do think.
But I guess, but it's like, where are we going back to? That's what I'm saying now. Is like now that we're looking at 70 years of history, where is back now? Is it mom and dad's music, the grandparents' music?
Well, but you're talking about singer-songwriters. What the people in the 60s were going back to, they were going back to the 40s. Right. They were going back to the folk music that Woody Guthrie and the Weavers and all these people were making.
Belly.
Yeah, and all these blues guys. I mean, that's who was playing at the Newport Folk Festival, which was a big deal. It's all these blues guys who started making music, some of them in the 20s.
Right.
And all these young people in their teens and early 20s were learning their guitar styles and, covering their songs. You think about, Going Up the Country, that song.
Canned Heat.
With Canned Heat. It's like, I didn't realize until recently that's a direct ripoff of an old blues song. I mean, it's like just including the little fife solo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is just, they just basically copied this old blues song. I can't remember the name of the artist who did it now, but it's like, it's direct.
Well, and look at the mid-'60s with all the British invasion bands covering Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf and, the Rolling Stones named themselves after a Muddy Waters song.
But then when you get to new people, I think that's one of the... And it's always happening, and I think it's always healthy, is like they're trying to copy it, but they can't quite copy it. And by not... It's the same thing the Beatles did. You can't quite do exactly what they did.
Exactly.
Right, so you get something
like it,
and you start getting original stuff because of that.
And it's the limitations that the people are, they're trying to make it sound like Muddy Waters, but they can't. But their interpretation of it is more important. Is the innovation? It's their what they bring to it.
Yeah,
that makes it original.
And I think young people making quote unquote folk music now is. I think some really good stuff's going to come out of it. I think there's some great songwriters out there.
And it's, financially the market's more open for folk music because it's not as complicated. There's not as much production. There aren't as many people in bands, and it's something you can kind of financially swing if you've got a computer.
And a microphone.
And a microphone, and you just
two
do it all
turntables and a
yourself.
microphone.
Yeah,
that's
the all
DIY
you need.
is definitely more friendly to a solo act than bands,
Yeah. And it's so easy for them just to trade it back and forth.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the thing is like, when I was growing up, if I read about something, I'd have to order it and wait 2 months for it to show up, at the record store that I ordered it from.
Right.
And now it's immediate.
Yeah.
Now if you say, gosh, I heard about this, you've got it in 5 seconds.
Right.
But one of my main sources of new music was always to go to the record store and just flip through the aisles and listen to what they were playing on the stereo, and that doesn't exist anymore.
No, but in your social media, if you're on Instagram, whatever, you'll have a reel pop up, and here's something that maybe is sort of like something you listen to.
Right.
I mean, I'm not a big fan of Pandora and all the things that Spotify and stuff that suggests stuff for you because it's never what I really like.
Right.
But
sometimes it is.
Well, you have better luck than I do.
Yeah.
But I'm not a Spotify guy anyway.
I'm not either.
But
anyway. You want to look at what your goals are with music too, as an audience, not as a music maker and everything, because there are a lot of, we build our character through our music. A lot of us do. Mm-hmm. But this is why I was saying that I was kind of a conformist when I first got into music. I only listened to top 40 radio.
Right.
And as a kid, I realized that, it's what other people are listening to, and there are probably good songs on there. I knew that they weren't all good songs or anything like that. But I thought we all know an odd songs that do make it into the top 40 and that make it in big. So you can't just say that all top 40 songs suck because that sounds silly too, But as a conformist, there are people, and this goes back to school days and when you're so fragile about your identity and what other people think of you, and a lot of times you judge other people to keep from being judged yourself and all that stuff. As a conformist, I can tell you back then that I really didn't care. It wasn't that important to me. I listened, and what I got into, the nerd part for me, was listening to the countdown and thinking. I would always listen, like, what was the biggest mover this week? It moved up 18 notches. What is it about that song that would make it connect like that? Why did that song stay at number 1 for 8 weeks and this other song went to number 1 and was gone like within 2 weeks?
What gives the song staying power?
Yeah. So it was statistics. It was kind of like a.
For a sports guy, that's
for a sports, it does make sense. You're looking at the best baseball player, or whatever. You're looking at their stats, and you're trying to figure out what their secret is. And I was looking at it from that way with the music. I was listening to music that way, but it wasn't that important to me, and that's what surprised me because I came across people who were all about odd things and things nobody knew and all that. And sometimes, like my friend Robert with the big band, it was like a legitimate interest. And sometimes it was just fake. It was just like, I'm going to rise above everybody by dismissing what they listen to, you know, and it's like, you don't get clout from being crappy to people about what they like.
No,
you know?
But, you know, when you're a kid, I mean, I was reading Rolling Stone. I was reading, you know, I was looking at all this stuff, finding different music, different places.
Yeah, you were reading reviews, and I was listening to charts. You know, and that's the difference.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like, you know, Lou Reed had one hit on the charts.
Right.
But I bought Lou Reed albums because of the reviews.
Right.
And it's like they would have never gotten on the radio, a lot of them.
Right.
But, you know, I found my niche. I love that stuff.
Right. That reminds me of, I don't think it was last week. It was it was last. Well, it was when we were talking about hooks. So I guess it was a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
And you were talking about the Cheap Trick Surrender song.
Yeah.
And you both love that song and everything.
Right.
And I said I didn't know it. And you're like, surely you know it. And then you were singing part of it and everything. And I went back and listened to it. Never heard it before.
Really?
I looked it up.
That's amazing.
It didn't make the top 40. It was in the 60s. And I thought, I only listened to top 40 radio. I didn't listen to album rock.
Yeah.
I don't know where I would have heard that. And I asked my friends, everybody had heard it but me.
Yeah.
You know? And the ironic thing is I had talked about some 70s disco songs that I thought these are probably pretty remote or whatever. And one was Get Off by Foxy.
Yeah.
It went to number one. It was the number one song on Billboard in 1978, the same year that the Cheap Trick song came out. And then mentioned... what was it? Born to Be Alive by Patrick Hernandez. It was a top 20 song. And these songs were big disco hits. Yeah. But it was, and they were number one in countries around the world. I thought this makes sense because I was listening to the top 40. So I heard these disco songs because they were on the top 40, not Cheap Trick. And that's why my reference point. And so it's like, if you're listening to old music, who are you even going to trust with the old music? Because if we were talking about 70s music, we'd be in totally different worlds what we'd be recommending, you know?
Well, we are a lot of times.
Yeah, yeah. And everyone heard the Cheap Trick song, you know, and I went back and it's like, I've never heard this song. I've never heard this song.
That's amazing that you've never encountered that song.
And I mean, I like the fact that everybody I knew liked it, but it didn't sound like anything special to me either. But that's because I'm an old man hearing it and you were teenagers when you heard it.
Well, and it's kind of ironic. I think the first big Cheap Trick hit was them covering Ain't That a Shame by Fats Domino. Isn't that Fats Domino?
Yeah.
They could have been a one-hit wonder to me because I remember I Want You to Want Me. And that was a top 40 song.
Yeah, that's in the same album.
And I shifted, you know, I mean, it's like I didn't just stick to top 40 my whole life. And I do like things like Exotica. You know, I talk about that all the time. And I know that's not the greatest musicianship in the world or anything like that. It's not because of the lyrics, because there are no lyrics. Right. It's just what it does to me and how the tropics were always an escape for me, and palm trees and beaches and all that. And it just resonates in that kind of aura and all that. So it takes me somewhere. The soundtracks horror soundtracks, that's definitely, I didn't do that to impress my friends. I didn't even talk to them about even liking that stuff or anything. I did it just because it took me somewhere else.
Well, something that's interesting to me, I think about this every now and then, is like when I was listening to odd music, and listening to stuff that nobody in my high school was listening to, I could never find my people.
Right.
You know, those people, they were out there. There were other people who were doing it.
But they might have been listening to different odd music than what you were listening to.
Yeah, but I mean, I would have related. I mean, I tended to relate to, as far as listeners go, people who were like 5 years older than me, who were my sister's age.
Yeah. Well, and that's a huge difference, which we've talked about many times.
Yeah.
That was verboten for me. You know, I wasn't about to listen to what my sister listened to, you know.
But now you can go online and you can find your community regardless of what it is you listen to. There's somebody out there that's listening to it
That's
too.
an advantage now.
And, you know, I mean, God knows online is dangerous for teenagers and young people.
Yeah, you don't want to.
But you can find other people. I mean, now kids' friends are like all across the world. And that's who they communicate with, other than, you know, when it was us, it was like, okay, who's within a 10-mile radius?
Right.
Or less.
I distinctly remember probably my senior year in high school, and almost all my friends were listening to dinosaur rock. I mean, it was Yes and Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd and and I went and bought a REM record and the Pretenders and the Cars, and they were like, what are you doing? And I just remember, like, I'm just doing my own thing here.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like there was anyone else in my class that was listening to that new wave.
That's
well, see,
interesting.
being a few years older, that was, I mean, I was in my 20s or late teens, early 20s when that stuff was coming out, and it was like, oh, yeah. But finally, you know, we've got a piece of this that's not the stuff that I've been listening to forever, that's exciting and fun and different.
Yeah.
So y'all didn't really have a peer group that liked your kind of music.
Well, that was the thing, is I had a little group of friends that were kind of nerdy and weird and different. I mean, everybody thinks they're weird and different.
Yeah.
But we traded, we made mixtapes, and we like loaned each other albums, and we'd get together and say, I got this new album, come over and let's listen to it.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything like that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when I started writing about it, I was throwing myself completely into it, and you know, my friend, it became more of a thing. But it was just like, oh, I like music. Yeah, that album's okay. You know, and I did like albums I liked, but like I say, it wasn't as important to me as other things. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, see, with my person that's been my best friend since 8th grade, just about. I mean, we've had some really close friends, but my friend Daryl, who lives out in California.
Yeah.
I mean, I can pick out like the artists that he got me into because he got into them first, like Peter Gabriel.
Right.
He got Peter Gabriel's first album. I don't know what made him buy it, but it was like, oh yeah, this is great.
Right.
And then he liked people like Kate Bush that I never got into.
Right.
But we traded stuff back and forth all the time, and I mean, it wasn't only music; it was books and things like that. He'd read a book and say, "You need to read this," and I'd read it, and we'd trade back and forth. I mean, that's how you find your community.
I'm kind of that way now. You know, it's like I'm just talking about the formative years, and the age of discovery years were very different for me because that's not really what I was discovering.
Yeah,
you know,
and it's amazing the difference because I never ever paid any attention to the Billboard top.
Well, it's like I thought, I need to
know.
know about music. I need to listen to something. And I started listening to Top 40 radio. And then I started listening to American Top 40, and I loved the whole competitiveness of it.
Yeah.
And where's this song? And, oh, this one jumped over that one. You know?
Okay. That's the sports guy.
Yeah, it was the sports guy. It's like, wow, what a big move they made. You know, or like, what a drop.
Well, I mean, I miss that. I mean, I used to listen to it not every weekend, but when it was on, generally, if I remembered it was on, I would listen to it. Mm-hmm. And it was always fun. And there are people who were just like you, who, like, they were, like, taking notes. These people called me when I was writing about music.
Well, and, you know, American Top 40 is what inspired me to start doing my own 30-second clips, 25-second clip, you know, 1 hour, 45-minute, 100 favorite songs of the year. Because it was a very American Top 40 type. And listening to it now, you know, it's not about the rankings anymore. But it's like, oh, I remember all those songs have very vivid memories for me.
Music is closely tied with memory.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. It's interesting to think about. I miss having teenagers in the house.
Yeah.
Because they were always introducing me to new stuff.
Yeah.
And it was fun to watch them discover stuff and get excited about it.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And, I mean...
Did you ever introduce your parents to music? With your sister?
My sister to some extent, but she went off and got married, you know, pretty early. And, and she was not paying that much attention to what I was listening to. And in my 20s, when I started writing about music, I convinced my parents to go to a couple of concerts with me that they liked okay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You know, I took them to Sparky Rucker.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And my dad wanted more songs, you know, different. But I think they both liked it.
Right.
But overall, they didn't like much of what I liked.
Right.
You know, my dad and I could talk about country music, and my mom could talk about Ray Charles, but they kind of stopped, you know, like people do.
Like people do, yeah.
And it was hard for them to get. My grandmother would listen to stuff and pay attention to it. Mm-hmm. I don't know whether she liked it or not, but if I found something funny. Mm-hmm. I remember as a teenager, or before I was a teenager, when I was in elementary school, she'd come in laughing about, you know, the Groovy Grubworm song or Let It All Hang Out. And she liked that stuff.
Yeah.
But
I don't remember. I remember my mom and I having a discussion about whether Madonna or Cyndi Lauper would outlast each other. Who would be the top dog
That's
at the end
interesting.
of the day? You know. Yeah, it was.
So what did y'all decide?
Cyndi Lauper, because she was a better artist, so we missed that one, you know.
But she's still around.
Well, and that's one of the things when I went back looking at, well, why did Madonna, you know, who was less talented, honestly.
Yeah.
She was more ambitious. And I looked at Madonna was coming out with a new album every other year. You know,
Cyndi Lauper would
Cyndi
put out an
Lauper,
album
like,
and 10 years later,
she'd
another
take
one.
4 years. Like, well, you're not going to. And same thing with Kate Bush.
Yeah.
You know, she just takes huge breaks between putting out albums. Madonna's like, I'm going to be a big star.
Well, I think I told this. I told the story before when I was interviewing the Judy Bats when they first got signed to Sire Records, and one of them talked to Seymour, or a couple of them actually were talking to Seymour Stein, you know, the president, and he made a reference. He didn't name Madonna by name, but he said, you know, we have an artist, because he was giving them advice. They were asking for advice on what they should do,
Right.
And he said, well, you know, we have this artist that, you know, she may not be my favorite, but she works harder than everybody else.
Right. Well, and, you know, actually. Go ahead.
I was just saying, and that's, I mean, that was
and
what
that's
he said.
exactly
That's
what she did.
Yeah.
Well, and there's also the possibility that Cyndi Lauper did not want to be a huge superstar.
Well, Cyndi Lauper, as it turns out, her record company was pitting her against Madonna, and they were making her feel real anxious and self-conscious, and like she was in the trenches against Madonna. And she's talked about, you know, in later years how it would have been nice if they had just been friends, you know, and she didn't feel like Madonna's going to destroy my career.
Well, they're so different. I mean,
I do believe that my mom actually thought Madonna would go further, and I was saying Cyndi Lauper, but she just thought she just got something different, you know.
Well, I mean, so much it's the zeitgeist. You know, it's like, I mean, Elvis, for all how great he was, it was timing more than anything else. I mean, there could have been another Elvis out there. There could have been other people that were just getting that combination, but everything hit right at that moment.
Yeah.
And kind of the same thing with the Beatles. I mean, it's like it was going to happen. These are the guys that made it happen, but I just think things are out there. And with Madonna, it's like she was definitely more marketable.
Right.
Yeah.
Cyndi Lauper was quirky.
And that's what Taylor Swift had modeled herself after, not Madonna's talent and not Madonna's, you know, edgy sexuality or anything like that, but just Madonna's work ethic.
Right. And another thing going against Cyndi Lauper is she also had humor.
Yeah.
And people will not take humor seriously.
Yeah.
They dismiss it, and it's like,
I think it's a novelty.
Yeah.
you know, like I said
They
before,
don't want that in their music.
you know, if Mozart can write a song called "Lick My Ass," you know, quit giving me that look. But then humor belongs in music,
Is
and
that
it's
humor?
serious.
Was that humor?
It was, it was meant to be humorous. It was a joke.
Yeah. She-bop, you know, something like that.
Well, yeah, She-Bop is totally subversive.
And once you see the video, it's just totally a joke, you know.
Yeah, but
What would I was thinking about, you know, what are your goals with music? This would be a good question to put to teenagers. Like, what are you trying to do with music? Like I say, you can build your own individuality. You can bond with your peers. You can sort out your own feelings. You can give yourself motivation, and you can also just let, you know, your art flow through you. And I think that what you don't want to do is just give up your own individuality for what your friends like. You
Right.
know? But at the same time, you don't want to be just committed to being a
Castaway on an island.
yeah. Like, I don't like anything. You know, like I say, there's no clout in just like, you know.
well, not dismissing everything, but sticking to your guns and saying, yeah, I think this is good.
Yeah.
I mean, eventually you're gonna find people. You're gonna be vindicated in some way if it's out there and you like it and it's different enough. I don't think it's. I have great respect for you, keeping with it.
Right.
But you'll find your people.
Right. Yeah. I didn't realize you guys weren't. I thought you all just had friends who were all, you know, into non-top 40 music.
Oh, give me a break. I mean, you know, who could I find that was listening to, you know, 78s played on a Victrola? I mean, I know. I mean, I had all this stuff, and my friends would come over and say, hey, listen to this. And they'd go, Oh, that's interesting.
I told you Robert liked big band jazz.
Yeah.
But he'd also like, in the parking lot, walking to our cars or whatever, he'd do some little jazz step. I'm like, all right, dial it back, Robert. We don't need the whole show,
Well, the big thing with me was when I would find things that were funny, songs that were funny. That's one of the things I introduced a lot of people to Frank Zappa.
Yeah.
Because I had the album We're Only in It for the Money, and it had songs like, Take Your Clothes Off When You Dance and What's the Ugliest Part of Your Body and things like that were just funny.
Right.
And that was a way that people would get it.
Well, what would you advise your today's 16-year-olds? Where would you advise them to start if they wanted to hear stuff just besides, what's popular right now? Well, I would probably say start with your parents. Your parents are around. Talk to them about it. Find out why grunge music was a breakthrough. Find out why their parents think, at least, these things happen, and what their parents liked about the music they liked.
Or we'll find lists of most pivotal musics of certain eras, important albums from different eras. I mean, I'm still finding stuff.
Yeah, me too.
And
it's infinite.
Yeah, and I mean, I could find something that's it's like I talk about Judy Sill quite a bit. I knew one song written by her that I loved, but I mean, I didn't know anything about her until about 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. And she's from like 74, I think. It's like she was the first artist signed to Asylum Records.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it was like, I mean, I couldn't believe once I heard it that I hadn't heard it before.
How would a 16-year-old today find Judy Sill?
I think, if you like singer-songwriters,
right.
go...
and they do seem to like singer-songwriters.
Right.
I think that's a good genre for them to start with, because a lot of our rock and hip-hop and stuff has not aged well.
Right.
But singer-songwriters kind of a consistent form,
Well, just because, the focus is the song itself, not any of the production or any of the faddish stuff.
Right.
If you go up and you say, greatest love songs of all time, you're going to get a lot of crap.
Yep.
But you're going to get some things that
some
are
great love songs.
Yeah.
Right.
And, if you say, most controversial songs of all time, you're going to find something in there probably that you're going to like.
Right.
But if you look in the subject matters, Google's out there. You can find anything and get
Reddit's
suggestions.
Pretty good too.
Yeah.
For something like that.
They'll have threads on there.
You get people, when you see a consistent answer coming up with different people, it's like, check it out. So just be open. Like I say, start with your parents, start with singer-songwriters, and build from that.
Or if you
don't have to know all of rock history.
Yeah, but another thing is do what I did. If a young person is singing a song that's an old song, go back and research and see who else has recorded that song or who wrote it.
Right.
Or, when people...
See, I didn't know that. I didn't know, as much as I knew artists and how they were doing, I didn't know who their producer was. I didn't know, who actually wrote the song.
Well, of course, we don't have,
liner notes anymore.
Yeah, people are now getting, going back to vinyl, so you can actually, see credits on the back of an album. But that was like a goldmine for me.
Oh, yeah. I read the backs of all the albums.
Yeah, and it's like...
I knew the names of producers and studios. And
yeah, and I got so that, if certain people played on an album, I'd think, well, this might be pretty good because these people only play on good albums.
Right. I was that way about producers.
Yeah.
Mitch Easter.
Yeah.
Produced the first 2 REM records.
Yeah.
I bought many records just because he produced it, and I thought, well, he's got great taste.
Yeah, I'm the same way with Hal Wilner. If Hal Wilner produced something, I might not like it, but I want to hear it.
Okay.
I know, you don't worry about any of that.
Well, I was just thinking that, I would advise people today, don't shut down what other people like,
Right.
Don't just automatically shut it off. It's like I do genuine, and this took me time to learn. I used to feel like a lot of young people feel like the whole world is on trial and you're there to judge every person and everything that happens, and it really isn't. It's existing whether you do or not, and whether your opinions aren't going to change anything. But if there's someone you like and you genuinely like them and they like something, just appreciate that they like it. Maybe be a little more open to it.
Well, it's just like you talk about Olivia Rodrigo a lot.
Yeah.
But, I mean, she nicked that Elvis Costello thing from Pump It Up.
Yeah.
It's like, well, go back and listen to Pump It Up and see if you like that, because she obviously did.
And listen to more of her, because she's thinking what she does.
And listen to what influenced
Right.
the people that you like.
And if your best friend hates her, then who cares?
Yeah.
Listen to her anyway.
Right, it's still your thing.
Well, you're going to end up listening to whatever's the timing is right for you to like
Exactly.
that. I mean, I've had many albums that friends said, "Oh, get this record," and I was still, I don't get it. And then 5 years later, I go, "I love that record. I just wasn't ready for it then."
Yeah.
Same here.
And also, I think you gotta just if something perks your interest, just follow it up. I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be. I'm thinking of Burt Bacharach, for example.
Yeah.
It's like that's not, edgy.
But that's one thing my mom influenced me, and it wasn't edgy or anything like that. But it had such a warm feeling.
He's he's a genius. He was a genius.
Singer-songwriter stuff,
Yeah.
Well, it was a little
and it
more
brings back to
produced.
Dionne Warwick too.
Yeah.
Because he wrote songs specifically for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was. What's interesting about Bacharach to me is Darius Milhaud, who was, I can't pronounce his last name, who was a modern classical guy, sounds nothing like what Bacharach wound up writing, but he was one of Burt Bacharach's teachers. And Bacharach, because I interviewed Bacharach, was talking about, he was a little uncomfortable presenting his stuff. And here's a guy who was like intellectually big deal, and said, you need to do what you do.
Right.
And it worked. I mean, Bacharach's melodies, some of them are odd. Some of his orchestrations are, particularly back then, were odd for musicians. A lot of them didn't want to play it.
And, you do hear that today. Bringing things full circle. There are some people that just, surprisingly, it's like, oh, my God, that's a minor chord, and it works so well there in the middle of all that major chord stuff.
Yeah.
And it's still a craft, and it's still... you don't have to go all the way back to Burt Bacharach, although he was definitely one of the greatest.
Right.
You can still hear it today. So open your ears to what you are listening to already, and you'll hear more things about it.
Yeah.
Just enjoy it. Don't apologize for what you enjoy.
Right. And keep your ears open.
And I have to maybe in the future we'll do a podcast about sharing music, sharing interest and opinions, and how you receive music from other people, because you and I have so many stories. And I was thinking today, I don't know why, but the first time I guess I wanted you to hear Lana Del Rey, and it was Born to Die, and you listened to it, and you said, well, I liked it once the song got going, but I don't really like it when it sounds like people are mumbling with rocks in their mouth or whatever.
Yeah, and she did.
Yeah, and I thought, well, you like Lucinda Williams, who sounds like she's gargling gravel. I don't understand.
Well, she didn't gargle. She sounded like the word was in her mouth for a while before it ever came out. It's like she rolled it around.
Yeah, but the same thing. It was just like, but you really liked her, and I really liked Lana Del Rey. And your opinion, we're so, your opinion never changed my opinion on anything. We just shared opinions.
But I did get so that I liked Lana Del Rey the more I listened to her.
Yeah. And I like Lucinda Williams too. But it's just like we just fire off things at each other.
Right.
You can't be thin-skinned with anyone. That's the first thing. If you're going to share music with someone, neither one of you can be thin-skinned about it.
Well, that's one of the things that's interesting is like when you work in the newspaper, because I just retired, but people would be so sensitive about any kind of criticism. And it's like, man, you should have worked in a newspaper.
Yeah, I know. I swear, it's like you would loan someone an album and say, this album reminds me of the last time I sat by my grandmother on her deathbed, and we talked about the afterlife, and we talked about her being reunited with my grandfather and the impact that she's had on us, and blah, blah, blah. And the next day they come in and toss it on your desk and say, yeah, it's all right. It's like, you can't do that.
But as far as like when we would write stuff, I mean, you turn it over to somebody to read it.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, they tear it to pieces.
Yeah.
And you've just got to say, oh, well, thank you.
That was hard as an editor.
Yeah.
That was hard as an editor because it didn't matter how much I liked you or not. It's like I have to And I would doubt myself, and it's like, oh, I really like this person. I don't want to say, oh, I don't really like what you led that with, or where that story went. It was much harder to edit than it was to read if you're a sensitive person.
But it's so much. I mean, that's and that is a thing that I wish younger people could understand quicker, because it takes so long before you can take criticism and not get your feelings hurt and realize people are trying to help you.
Yeah. Yeah, and the best way I could help would be like if I was reading a story of yours and you had a great quote, like 3 paragraphs from the bottom, and I just say, that's a great quote. And you think, maybe I'll put that up higher, or something like that.
And we both did that with people when we were reading stuff. But I mean, you were the editor, and you were looking at stuff, and you make those suggestions, and I respected you. So and even the people I didn't respect to some extent, if they had a problem with, I would say, do I want to do this or not? Yeah. Sometimes you stick to your guns and say, no, this is the way I want it to read. But most of the time it's like, this is a suggestion you need to take in and try to, adapt and see if it's better the other way. Right. And you were good at that.
You were good at receiving, prods and everything. There was one in particular, just like, you couldn't suggest anything.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's just like, all right, you know what? I'm not even going to bother. I'm going to correct the spelling errors and just send it through.
Okay, I got a funny story on that one.
Okay.
There was.
Okay, yeah, we're talking about the same person. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, like every time when I would write a review, and the copy editor would find something, I would make absolutely sure to go over and thank them for finding it if that was a mistake. Absolutely. And that person that we're talking about, every time would argue about it, and it's like it's wrong.
Right.
It's like
it was the most baffling, awful,
and it's like they're trying to help you out and make you not look like an idiot in print.
You know what? I finally decided, well, this person's just going to look like an idiot.
And that's what we all did.
We're going to write it out, and they're just going to be an idiot and whatever.
Yeah, because, they say,
it's not worth the effort.
Somebody says, well, read this for me, and you know what you're going to get back. It's like, well, okay, whatever.
Whatever, yeah. Great job.
Yeah. Well, there was one person who wrote, not that same person we're talking about, but wrote a thing. I don't know if I've told this story before, about the McCamey family, a gospel. This person wrote about gospel music and religion and stuff.
I don't know who that was.
Well, I'll tell you afterwards.
Okay.
But they had a line, I'll never forget it, said, Peg McCamey likes to kick off her shoes and wave a white handkerchief while singing. But they left out the G. So Peg McCamey likes to kick off her shoes and wave a white handkerchief while sinning.
Oh, my God. That's a whole other thing.
It is very different.
It was very different. And I laughed about it and told this person, and they were so hateful about it.
Yeah.
It's like, I saved your ass. They would have been mad about this.
Right. Well, if you got hang-ups, you just work on that. And that includes if you're listening to new music.
Well, I personally like to kick off my shoes and wave a white handkerchief when I'm sinning, but
John's kicked off his shoes, I've noticed. It's all right.
There's no handkerchief over here.
Well, you got recommendations? Yep.
Well, I haven't even
flag.
Let me start with a movie. I was sick for a couple of weeks, and I watched a lot of movies, so I've got...
Oh, yeah, you did.
Yes. 1978 Japanese film called Empire of Passion. What are you laughing about?
You had time to watch movies. Somehow you found a Japanese movie from 1978.
I had this one saved. This is sort of the follow-up. This is Nagisa Oshima, I think is the way he pronounces his name, is the director. And he had directed a couple of years earlier In the Realm of the Senses, which was the most explicit film pretty much.
I'm writing it down now.
Shown in any sort of mainstream theater situation. Japan banned it. He released everything through a French company.
This one you're talking about now?
No, I was saying this is the follow-up to In the Realm of the Senses, which the Realm of the Senses is. I saw it when I was about 18, and I think I'm scarred for life. I'll never think of a hard-boiled egg the same way again. And people who've seen it will know what I'm talking about. But then he followed it up with Empire of Passion, which I'd never seen, which is sort of the classic story of there's and this is in a little village in Japan, and we don't know exactly what time, but a husband and wife. The husband is a rickshaw driver, seems like a really nice guy. Everybody likes him, just a regular old guy. And his wife, who is supposed to be late 40s, 50, whatever, but looks really, really young. This young soldier or ex-soldier gets the hots for her, and they have an affair. And you know, we should learn from all these movies. If you're having an affair with somebody married, you ought never kill the spouse, because it just never turns out real well.
Somehow they figure it out.
Somehow it just happens. So anyway, it turns out they have a fling. This guy is real good at something that most guys are apparently not real good at. You see evidence of this.
All right.
I'm not going to say the word because you had a sign up.
Yeah.
But you might ask, how good is he at this? It's so good that when he says, "We need to kill your husband," she goes, "Okay." So they kill the husband, and then 3 years later, the husband starts coming back as a ghost.
Oh, cool.
And
Why did it take 3 years, I wonder?
Well, I don't know. That's interesting. But
ghost incubation time?
Ghostification.
and he shows up around the village, different places to different people.
Oh.
And it's
Telling them who killed him?
No, he doesn't actually say it.
Oh.
But that's the thing. It's like the guy was a pretty good guy, and he wasn't like abusive. He was just an old goofy guy. Mm-hmm. But then you're following this couple who have to keep their relationship secret and not see each other after killing the husband. And it's a really good movie. I really enjoyed it, kind of start to finish. There's quite a bit of sex in it, but not like in the realm of the senses sex.
Okay.
But
just more standard sex.
Yeah, like I said, this guy's real good at something.
Okay.
And that's demonstrated a couple times.
Where do you see this?
I taped it off Turner Classic Movies. I'm sure you can rent it. It's out there. And this director, he's a very famous Japanese director, at least in Japan, because he made a lot of very controversial films that really opened up Japanese cinema, and sometimes to the extent that they wouldn't show it in Japan. So anyway, it's a good movie. I won't say
there are worse things than being censored in Japan.
Oh, I know. They've got some weird rules, as kinky as they are. But it's a fun movie, and if you liked In the Realm of the Senses, I think this is actually a better movie.
Okay.
Doesn't have as much, like I said, of the sex, but
he was really good at something, and they show that, right?
They show it a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
I watched this movie as it's not a documentary. I think it's a dramatization made by Howard Kalin, the guy from the Turtles.
Yeah.
And the movie is called My Dinner with Jimmy.
Oh, I saw that.
It's really good. It's basically Howard Kalin was one of the two main principals in the band, the Turtles from L.A., who had the hit Happy Together. But if that's all you've ever heard of the Turtles, you just think they're sort of a bubblegum pop group. But if you pay any attention to them, they're quite subversive.
And very smart.
And really smart. And anyway, Howard Kalin made this movie, but they're actors playing everybody. And there's one pivotal, the name of the movie is My Dinner with Jimmy. And the Animals went to England to tour and just fell in with all of the hip musicians of the time. And I don't know if Howard Kalin and Jimi Hendrix were big friends, but apparently they hung out for a night together. That's Jimi Hendrix.
Okay.
And but it's really funny, and I learned a lot about the Turtles that I didn't know.
Cool.
Frank Zappa's in there.
All right. So I saw Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die.
Oh, good.
This is directed by Gore Verbinski. Have we ever said that he's from Oak Ridge?
What?
I know. Gore Verbinski is from Oak Ridge. We talk about Quentin Tarantino endlessly.
Gore Verbinski is from Oak Ridge?
Gore Verbinski is from Oak Ridge. He's Polish descendant. His father was a nuclear physicist.
I had no idea.
I know. I didn't either. I thought, have we ever talked about this? Because, like I say, we talk about Tarantino all the time. Oak Ridge, for people who don't know, that's just a town, one county over from Knox County, and it was very involved in developing the bomb and all that stuff. But, Gore Verbinski's from there. But anyway,
When did this movie come out?
this movie is out now. It's I saw it. It's still in theaters. I saw it several weeks ago, and it's Gore Verbinski. Of course, he did The Ring. He did the first 3 Pirates of the Caribbean movies, and he's had kind of a dry spell the last 10 years. A lot of it self-imposed. He had some projects fall through. He did a movie. What was it? The Lone Ranger.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is kind of a rebound. It's his first full-fledged, fully promoted movie. And it stars Sam Rockwell, who he was going way back. He was in Box of Moonlight, which was filmed in Knoxville.
Yep.
He was more recently, he was in White Lotus 3 as a very interesting character in White Lotus 3.
One of the best characters that show's ever had.
Well, Sam Rockwell, he's just interesting, and his characters are always different. And he plays a man from the future, and he looks like an unhoused man, and he shows up at this diner in contemporary Los Angeles, and there's like 50 people there, and they're all eating. And what he's doing is, and he sounds like a complete nut job, and everyone, they're trying to call the police and get rid of him and everything. But what he does, he's looking for a combination of people who can help him save the world. And he goes through, and this is supposedly his 114th try coming into this same diner and assembling a group of people. And he has a different group each time. And when it fails, he hits a reset button, and he has to start all over again and find the right people. And he comes up with like 5 or 6 people. And over time, you realize, he's not just a crazy guy. And even though he's like wired with the bombs and stuff like that, and he's wearing a transparent raincoat, he just sounds insane. And he's talking about AI and how AI is going to kill the world. And there's a 9-year-old a few blocks away who is building an AI that will destroy the world, that will take over the world. So he needs to have other people go with him to stop this 9-year-old. And he pulls in what's her name? Haley Lou Richardson. She was Portia in White Lotus 2. So there's a double, even though they weren't on the same season. There's I don't know. There are Michael Pena's in it, Zazie Beetz, Juno Temple. They agree to go along with him, and it's just such a fantastical, weird sci-fi movie, and it's funny, and he's weird, and he can't help being weird. And then they start, like when he's going through the diner when he first gets there, they're like, we got to get this crazy guy out of here. But then he starts talking, and he knows their names, and he starts knowing stuff about them. And they start freaking out, and then one by one, he gets like 6 volunteers to go with him. And they know that their lives may be at risk and everything. But what they do, it's like an adventure going across L.A. It's just weird and strange. I've not seen anything like it. It was fun to watch. And like I say, it was more humorous than anything. But it was very telling. Like a couple of the ones who go with him are teachers, and they teach at a high school. Every single high schooler is always on their phone. So if you walk into a classroom, all of them are looking at their phones. And they become this army to save AI. So they become, the enemies are this high school class, Anyway, it's really weird. It's called Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. And it's still in theaters now. I'm sure it'll be on streaming very soon. A lot of fun.
That sounds good. Sounds like I need to go see this one.
Yeah, I think you'll like it.
Is it important to see it on a big screen or not?
It's got a lot of big fantastical things that happen.
Okay.
But, I don't know. You do better at movies at home than I do.
Well, we're all in our phones.
Lauren would need to see it in the theater.
Yeah.
You and Sarah can watch it at home. So,
all right. I hope I haven't recommended this before, but it's just one of those things that comes up. Is Yankee Hotel Foxtrot by Wilco, which came out in 2002, and it was a pivotal album for that band. And it's the one where I liked Wilco, and it was one of those things that they turned in the album, and the record company said, "This is crap. We don't want this."
Right.
And so they released it on the internet with unofficially, and people downloaded it, and it was the best album they'd ever recorded. And it got such buzz, people were reviewing it as the best album of the year, even though it was not actually released. And then the same over company, Warner Brothers, signed them, like Reprise Records, let them go. And then they re-signed with another Warner subsidiary, None Such Records, which released it, and it became their top-selling album, and it's great. And when we were talking back when it came out, you listened to it. I made you listen to it, and you said, "Oh, it reminds me of Radiohead."
Well, you know,
he said they've already done this with Kid A.
I will say I thought they were going to be. I would recommend our 16-year-olds today interested in music go listen to that because they probably won't be aware of it. I thought they were huge in the moment, but I don't think they're as recognized now as Radiohead or whatever.
Was the making of that album what became the movie I'm Trying to Break Your Heart?
Yeah.
And because the band basically imploded.
Yeah, and I mean it was so different from what they'd recorded before, and it's a lot of like kind of cut and paste lyrics, which you have to try to decipher. Does this actually mean anything? But it was funny because our friend Mike Flanagan gave me his copy of a download, but it did not have what I think is the most pivotal song on the album on it, called Poor Places. And I listened to it, and it was like, you know, this is okay. I like it all right, but I don't see what the big deal is. And then I got the missing song, and I listened to it loud, and it was like one of those moments where the world just opens up.
Did Mike just leave it out, or was it an earlier version that didn't have that song?
I think when he downloaded it, he missed that song.
Okay, all right.
And it was,
Mike had great taste in music.
Yeah, Mike introduced me to all sorts of stuff.
Yeah,
but
me too.
But
he was a bridge between us.
He really was.
He really was.
Because there were lots of things that he'd bring in and you'd latch on to, and other things I'd latch on to, and he was always going between us.
Yeah.
Was he an entertainment writer too?
He was a business writer, but
business.
Yeah, he was more interested in entertainment than business.
Yeah,
by far. And he started the radio show that I later took over when he died, All Over the Road.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, he was a
great
real
guy.
music head.
Such a great, funny.
Yeah,
funny
his nephew. I hang out with his nephew. He writes for Blank, and he's a super nice guy. All good people. But anyway, it's a great album. Came out in 2002. If you've never heard it, listen to it loud, and just like sit back with it because it takes a little bit to get it. But I think when you get to the song "Poor Places," I mean, it's.
Are you saying
Poor Places?
Poor Place. Okay.
Poor.
I was trying to remember that track. Okay.
Yeah, and it's the one that actually has somebody saying Yankee Hotel Foxtrot in it, which is that's the station that military stuff is transmitted over. But anyway, to me it's a very emotional listen, and it's great. So give it a shot.
I'm going to recommend something. My wife and I were on vacation recently, and I took that opportunity to do a bunch of research for a music festival that's coming up in a couple of weeks here in Knoxville. It's called the Big Ears Music Festival, and it's typically very adventurous music of all kinds.
Very eclectic.
It's very eclectic. But I discovered one. It's a Japanese artist, a guy named Go Kurosawa. Go, G-O, and Kurosawa. It's... he used to play in a band in Japan, and so he used to write for bands and write, like, here's the bass part, here's the guitar part. But this new album he's got called Soft Shakes, which I'm sure he's going to be playing a lot of. It's all just him doing everything himself. And it's real gentle and real ethereal, but also really catchy, lots of melodies, and I really like it. This album...
Are there vocals? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. He's a multi-instrumentalist, and this album, like I said, it came out in 25. But... I don't know. I really liked it.
Cool.
Soft Shakes by Go Kurosawa.
Okay. Well, I was thinking about those 16-year-olds we were talking about. And I thought, what about 2007? I pulled out this rapper named Pittsburgh Slim. He did an EP then. And I was just thinking of things like what was offensive and what wasn't offensive. You know, he's more of a descendant of Tone Loc, maybe Beastie Boys, Two Live Crew, whatever. It's very sexual oriented, and I thought, but is this misogynistic? Because he's a horny guy, but he's like obsessed with certain women and everything. It's like objectifying women we know is the wrong thing to do, but I don't know if he ever crosses the line. Anyway, it was funny. Bloodhound Gang kind of funny stuff. Bloodhound Gang's definitely got misogyny. There's no shaking it.
But anyway, you still love him.
I like this Pittsburgh Slim guy because he's an Algerian Mexican from from Pennsylvania. So most rappers aren't Algerian, Mexican in 2007. It's just kind of where rap was at the time. His first track was called "Girls Kiss Girls," and they made a video that you might remember. They had a Playmate, or I don't know if she was Playboy or Hustler or something, Penthouse, and so he's talking to her, and that's like his girlfriend. They're on the computer talking to each other, and he's just like, and all of his stuff is just like real punchy, great hooks, just real basic music, but he's got a sense of humor, and he goes, "I like when girls kiss girls," and like a friend of hers shows up. And there's the best part of the song. He's going, "Let me see, let me see, let me see, let me see." And then there's another song called "Toy," and he goes, "You could be my doll, I could be your toy. You could be my doll, I could be your toy." And he goes, "I'm so sexy, you would F my shadow." Only he doesn't say F. Okay. Again, it's just such hooky stuff. And he has another one called "Kiss and Tell." Victoria, heard you got a little secret, and you're trying so hard just to keep it. Was a classified information, don't leak it. Little skirt ain't nothing underneath it.
There you go.
So anyway, just base humor. This is to the 16-year-olds. This is what your parents were listening to a couple of years before you conceived. So maybe you owe your existence to Pittsburgh Slim. He changed his name
Lord, I hope not.
to another artist. He never did another Pittsburgh Slim album, but it was just a blip in time.
What did he change his name to?
He changed it to Slimmy and Slimmy Hendrix. and his actual name, I never mentioned, is Syed Charhour. Again, that's Algerian Mexican. I think that was an Algerian name.
Okay.
Obviously, that's not Mexican.
All right.
So anyway, there you go. Something different. Okay, so if you want to find us on social media, we're all over it. How We Heard It on Facebook and YouTube and X and Instagram and TikTok. And also, if you have any ideas or feedback or suggestions for future topics, you can write us at howweheardit@gmail.com. Young people, get out there, listen to music however you want to. Find out what you want from music. Don't take things personally from other people, and let them have their space and enjoy what they enjoy, and everyone will be better for it. And thank you for listening. Next time. I don't know where I'm going. I never know where I'm going in this thing. It's like, oh God,
You've been listening to How We Heard It with Chuck Campbell and Wayne Bledsoe, a podcast about music, movies, art, culture, whatever it is that's on their mind. How We Heard It was recorded at the Arbor Studio in Knoxville, Tennessee by me, John Baker. How We Heard It is a Cozy Planet production. If listening to this podcast has given you a burning sensation, then we recommend you sit in a hot tub until your symptoms fade away. If you'd like to reach out to Chuck or Wayne or even me, you can send an email to howweheardit@gmail.com. So thank you for listening, and come on back and we'll have another episode for you next week.